Hello, everyone. We'll get started in just a minute. All right. Welcome, everyone, to today's webinar. We're going to be focusing on the power of networking and how to build connections for your future career. If you're a high school student, you might be thinking like, oh, I got to think about my career already. Well, yeah, I think it's never too early to really start thinking about your career because what you're going to be studying, what you're going to be doing for the next few years really determines what kind of opportunities that you'll have in front of you. So for today's conversation, we're going to talk a little bit about what is the purpose of networking, why is building a network so important, how to build your professional branding, and also how to network with others. If you haven't met me already, I'm Coach Victor with egelloC. I am a coach with egelloC and typically our internship and career advisor. Also, fun fact for myself, I used to work at UC Berkeley's admissions office, being able to outreach to different high schools, teaching about how to get into college, while also teaching a class on how to get into graduate school. Also, the second fun fact is that I did go to Berkeley for undergrad and graduate school on a full ride scholarship. So that being said, the information I'm about to share with you are things that I've done in the past and also have been very helpful and instrumental for a lot of other high school students. So let's dig into it. So first off, what is the purpose of networking? Well, quick definition here is that networking is the process of building and maintaining relationships with people who can offer guidance, share opportunities, and support your personal and academic or career goals. So I underline here building and maintaining relationships because networking, what a lot of people think that it is typically transactional, meaning that you give something and you receive something in return. Yet at the same time, what's more important is how do you sustain those relationships over time? And a lot of these relationships can mean a lot of different things. Your relationships and networking can be focused on just the career aspirations. It could be focused on having an emotional and mental and a mental support community. It could even be just like having a relationship of like having a gym buddy and being able to work out often. That is a form of networking as well. The whole point of networking is to establish your community of people who will help you achieve your goals. And so part of that especially for high school students that are really important is that it'll help you discover what particular career paths are out there. One of the things is a lot of students don't really know what actual careers are out there. We know the typical kind of occupations such as being a doctor, being an engineer, being a police officer, or those typical things. And that's because we've only been introduced to those few occupations at a young age. How else would you know what types of careers are out there? Do you know what a product manager is? Do you know what a UX designer is? Do you know what a usability designer is? There's a lot of different kinds of titles that people have never really discovered before. And how else would you know if your network doesn't really contain those particular occupations? Second is to be able to help you find internships, volunteering, and mentorships opportunities. Many students come to us because they're asking for recommendations on what internships or things should I do or what should I apply to, which totally makes sense. We definitely will know a few things that you can apply to, but also we don't know everything. All right, let's be clear about that. Yes, we will have our own network of people that we or opportunities that we understand, but you can easily go and branch out your networks to other people who might know of certain opportunities that are very siloed or not really well known to a lot of other people. Third is to be able to develop the confidence and communication skills. Communication is everything. It's going to be really important for you, not just throughout your entire college experience, but also way after college as well. When you have your first jobs, it's going to be really important for you to be able to navigate the workforce, be able to talk to employers, and be able to interview and get those jobs. And so by practicing networking and doing early, you are developing that skill from a very early age. And then by the time that you go into college or even into postgrad, you already have that level of comfort. Fourth is demonstrating initiative in the college application, which people don't realize that not a lot of people are actually networking or taking advantage of networking. And what the colleges really want to know, and especially when it comes to your activities, is they want to know, are you able to collaborate with others? Are you able to take leadership? Are you able to problem solve? And fourth, and most importantly, is are you taking initiative to learn more about your field, where you don't necessarily need to wait till college to start learning about it. You could start learning about it right now. Uh, Fifth is to be able to learn from other people's experiences. You never know what is it that you can learn from a person that you've never met. And they can have a lot of life lessons, whether that is about their career or just about life advice. And lastly, building a support network. People aren't able to get to where they are unless they had the help and support of others. People have their parents, people have family members, people have other professionals that are always supporting them to make sure that they can accomplish their goals, whether that's graduating from high school, going to college, or even attaining their career. Generally speaking, no one is really quote unquote self-made because there has to be at least somebody that has helped them or create a pathway for them in the past. So one of the things that people need to see network as is that your network is your net worth, meaning that your net worth is essentially how valuable are you to the economy or to different people, and it gives you access to different types of opportunities. So the way that we're thinking about what network can do for you is that it provides those opportunities, that social capital to be able to achieve a lot of different types of goals and whatever your problem that you're trying to solve for. Essentially, the thing about your network is that it really determines what specific paths are even available to you. So if you ever feel like you don't have access to certain opportunities, or you don't have access to certain occupations or different particular internships, then that means that your network is not really serving you in this case. So in order to change your net worth or to amplify it, then that means that you need to think about your network and how is it that you can modify that. And so a typical way that people without networks, what they would do is they would typically apply for jobs through like job application boards. So for example, on LinkedIn, they are going through a whole bunch of different listings and trying to see which one would be a good fit for themselves. The problem with this is that a lot of students actually don't know what they're looking for. They're using their own kind of confirmation bias of what like actually sounds good or doesn't sound good without really critically thinking to themselves, what do I actually really want to get from this experience? And so they're just trying to find the closest match as much as possible. Secondly, students are competing against a lot of other students as well. There's a lot of students and just generally people who don't have networks yet. They haven't established it, and they're doing the same thing, which is going to the job boards and trying to figure out what is a good job for themselves. And lastly, students don't fit the qualifications. And so for many of these job postings, these particular applications will tend to have a lot of different requirements that they're looking for in an ideal candidate. In most cases, you're not going to be able to excel in every single bullet point that they are requiring there. And in fact, most people who do apply to certain jobs, they're either super underqualified or super overqualified. And it makes it very difficult to be able to have like the right perfect fit here. And so because of that, when you're applying without a network, you are essentially at a disadvantage here because it's going to be really difficult to be one of the best out of like 100 plus applicants. And it's going to be really hard to stand out. Also, the other thing that they might do is apply for competitive programs. And the most popular one, especially for high school students, is applying to Cosmos. For programs like Cosmos, there are thousands of applicants. There are students that are competing against each other across the rest of the country, and it can make it even more challenging to be able to stand out. You could say the same about the college admissions process. A lot of students are always going for, Berkeley, Harvard, UCLA, the top schools, because that is that is seen as very prestigious. And the challenge with this is that even if you were to get into this competitive program, it's already kind of solidified to you about what exactly are you going to get out of this experience. You're not going to be able to learn any specific things that you are trying to control for. In reality, there's already a set curriculum about what exactly will you gain from this experience. And so because of that, it's not personalized to you. It's based off of what the program wants to provide to their students. So you can't really personalize it for yourself. And so what's the difference of what's the contrast of people with networks? The people with networks, they're actually, instead of applying to different opportunities, they're creating the opportunities where others are not even considering or even know that it even exists. So instead of applying against 100 people with different job postings or applying against 1,000 people for these competitive programs, you're creating an opportunity where you are competing against just yourself. And that is the place where you want to be. And that can only be possible if you create your network. And let's go into like, now that we've kind of talked about what networking actually is and um, how does it actually exist when you look at it in terms of job applying, let's talk about why is it so important. So if folks didn't know, generally a lot of people who are able to get jobs, they do it through referrals. So for example, here in this particular research or report is that 20% of candidates will get a referral and end up being hired, compared to those who are just 1.2% who go through the regular application process and just get the job. So meaning that the people who just apply during these job boards, right, they have a 1% chance of actually getting through. But the ones who actually network and can figure out who is the hiring manager or who is the recruiter, they're able to go to them and create a better opportunity where they have higher chances of success. And that's what a referral is. And in fact, even for people who learn about egelloC, majority of people who come through our program is because they got a referral because they like heard from somebody about this particular program. And it's possible that you join this Facebook group if you're or YouTube channel if you're listening in from there because someone might have shared it with you. And the same applies here when it comes to applying to jobs or trying to get internships. So just to kind of put it into perspective, right? When it comes to networking, it's not just for the sake of being able to get a job or get an internship, but also it's a way to be able to learn faster. So for example, if we were to compare the different durations of completing school. So for example, completing high school typically takes 4 years, right? Completing college, 4 years as well. Completing a course, maybe about 3 to 4 or 5 months, depending on if you're on a quarter system or semester system. Completing a summer enrichment program is about 2 to 3 months. And also completing a one-on-one conversation, which is the least amount of time, that could be done within 30 minutes to an hour at most, right? And what this means, what this is trying to demonstrate is the shorter the time frame that we can be able to learn something, we will be more successful because if we can reduce the gap between learning and execution, that will get us to a place where we can adapt and apply those learnings at a quicker pace. So for example, this is an infographic that kind of shows it, right? You want to reduce that gap again from the idea to the execution because the more times that you can execute, you gain more knowledge. And based off that knowledge, you can execute again. So the quote here is the greatest skill one can develop is reducing the gap between idea and execution because you learn so much more in that short amount of time. So even though high school and college are all really great things, it takes 4 years for students to really be able to gain the knowledge that they might need. But people don't realize the importance and the value of just having a one-on-one conversation with another person because you can gain so much knowledge from that one person. Let's just say like you're trying to talk to a college student who took a class about mechanical engineering. They studied 4 years about it. Well, yes, you can go in and take those 4 years of mechanical engineering so that you can get to the same level of knowledge as that person. Or you can also just have a quick conversation with them and try to figure out what is it that they learn so that way you can have a better understanding of what is it that you're getting into. So a lot of students also ask me like, hey, how do I figure out what major do I want to go into or what particular career do I want to go into? Well, the best way to kind of figure that out is honestly just talking to people. And that's networking essentially. Networking is just the idea of just being able to have a conversation with another person to learn something that they have done themselves. And that brings us to thinking about who are the right people that we should talk to. So there's 3 types of people out there that we can learn from. There's people who studied it, people who interacted with it, and people who experienced it. Networking with each of these people are not necessarily the same because you want to get different lenses and paradigms of how they've interacted with that particular subject. So let's just say that you wanted to learn from like what's it like to be a teacher, right? Like you might be considering being a teacher as a particular pathway for yourself. And there's tons of people that you can talk to. You can talk to people who studied it, which are people who studied a bachelor's or master's in education, people who interacted with it. These are the people who work with teachers, such as principals, students, or counselors. Or you can talk to the people who experience it themselves, which are the teachers. In this case, right, you're going to get different lessons from each of these individuals. And it's important that you help yourself become well-rounded of understanding what does it mean to be a teacher from these different perspectives, because that is what will help you become a better teacher and determine if this is something that you really want to do. The ones who are actually teaching, the ones who experienced it, they could probably tell you all about the challenges of what's it like to actually work with students. They'll tell you about how fulfilling it is. People who are interactive with it, principals, students, and counselors, they might have certain opinions about like how difficult or how great it is to work with teachers. While those people who studied it, it's much more of a theoretical lens about what exactly should they be doing according to the research to be able to be a great teacher. So again, those different experiences will help amplify what exactly is it that you can learn about this particular field. And this kind of brings to the point that when you are talking to all these different types of people, you will gain the perspective, right? The way that this graphic is showing is that two people are seeing this half empty or half full glass. One person might see it as half full, one person sees it as empty. And because of that, they're both seeing the same thing, but they have different interpretations of this objective cup here. And what that means is that you can be biased based off the people that you are talking to. So just know that even if, let's say, you are trying to learn about what's it like to be a doctor, and you are interested about learning more about internships for the pre-med field or something of that sort, you can talk to one person and they might give you like a very positive experience of like, oh, how enjoyable it is to work in the medical field, and also the amazing internships that they've done to be able to get to that point. Yet at the same time, right, there are a lot of challenges with like working in the medical field, and you should be knowledgeable of that because you want to know what is it that you're getting into. And the same could be applied to just learning about internships or learning about different opportunities in general, is that you want to gain as much perspective as possible so you can make an informed decision. So you won't, I guess for this graphic, you don't get ahead by working harder, you get ahead by working smarter. What this means is the idea of being able to talk with a lot of different people, you're actually able to gain a lot of momentum a lot faster, right? When it comes to school courses, a lot of people think that just by taking a course on a particular subject, you'll gain a lot more knowledge about a particular field. Yeah, at the same time, the smarter way to go about it is to talk to people directly who already experienced that class or already in that field. So that way you don't have to do so much work yourself. Do you really need to study a midterm or study for a particular class in order to understand, do I really want to be an engineer? No, not necessarily. Okay, so now we're going to go into how to build your professional branding, which is really important because in order to network successfully, you need to understand what is your personal branding and what is it that you want to communicate outward. Because the thing about networks is that it is based off relationships of like identity, meaning that when you develop a relationship with someone that is part of your network now, you know them for a certain reason. Like, for example, if you are doing an informational interview, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, about a teacher, you know them from the perspective of they are working as a teacher and what is it like for them as a teacher? How do they teach their particular classes? Like, you know only a certain lens about them. And the same can go about yourself. You want to be intentional about what is it that you want people to know about you, because when they think about future opportunities, they can think about you and connect you to those potential opportunities. So, for example, if like people know me as like someone who really loves working on technology and loves working on keyboards, for example, or building like mechanical keyboards, then and I made that really well known, somebody is going to think about me because that's all I talk about or that's all I am passionate about. So they'll eventually see an opportunity and might share those opportunities to me. So let's talk about what is actually professional branding, though. So professional branding, think of it as like your signature dish that is unique and keeps people coming back for more. So, for example, the Cheesecake Factory, right? They have a really great branding because people know them as this is the place to get cheesecakes. It makes it very simple, very easy to know, and you don't really have to think twice about whether do they serve cheesecakes or not because and what's their specialty because it's very much part of their name. Oh, sorry, I don't know how that popped up. So when it comes to your own personal branding, right? The point of it is you want to be able to express yourself in terms of what are your specific interests, skills, or values that you want them to be known. And this is part of being able to know yourself. You have to understand what is it that you really like to do, what is it that you value, what are the particular things that you're really good at, and so that way you can be able to share those things because you want people to remember you for those things. Second is like creating the image, deciding how you want to be seen by others, right? The great thing about personal branding is it doesn't need to necessarily be performative. You're able to create an image that you want people to know you for who you are. And you get to decide that based off what is it that you share. Uh, Third is being consistent, making sure that you are consistently maintaining that particular messaging throughout the entire time through these different interactions that you're having. Fourth is authenticity, being able to be true about who you are and not pretending to be someone else. And lastly, the reputation, building a positive impression and trust with others. So all these different things are really important to reflect on for yourself about what is that personal branding that you want to share to others. And so I'll put some examples here. Like for myself right now, as Coach Victor, a part of egelloC, usually, at least within our community, people know me as it's that college admissions advisor that got into Berkeley on a full ride scholarship, or the internship and career coach at egelloC, or the guy with the tattoo. Like these are things that people might remember me by. And I try to stay consistent with it because the webinars that I do teach, such as this one, it's all about internships and careers. And at the same time, though, this personal branding can change over time. So, for example, when I was a student, this is me back in like graduate school, is that I was branding myself as a student with a master's in public policy and bachelor's in social welfare from Berkeley. I have the data analytics and visualization expert for public education, and I'm the guy with a lot of East San Jose pride. This was my personal branding when I was in the job market, because when I was trying to find internships or find opportunities for myself, I had to make it very well known what is it that I was specialized in and like what makes me unique. And I add the whole East San Jose pride thing in there as well, because in most cases, a lot of students are going to be very much more skilled than you in some type of way. There's always going to be someone that's better at coding than you, someone that's better at building things or whatever it is. And so you always want to try to think what is that unique perspective or that personality that you have that can make you memorable, because you don't want to compete and be a number. You want to just compete to being like your best version of yourself. And another way to think about personal branding is if someone were to search you up, what would they find? And actually, it's so interesting because I'm not sure if anyone has done this before where you just Google your own name and see what pops up. This is what pops up for me, right? The things that I post on the web or my LinkedIn or professional profile, it is about me being like a technology product manager and life coach. And these are the particular things that I'm interested in, places that I work, and whatever information that I put online is going to be a part of my professional branding. So I know for a lot of high school students, this isn't something that you're thinking about right now, but whatever you share to the web, it's going to be seen by the public. And you have to be careful about what do you want people to know you by, because I think we all had those instances or knowledge of those times where somebody did something really terrible and that stayed with their name for the longest time and like tarnished their reputation. And so your personal branding is precious because if you're not defining your personal branding, someone will define it for you. So, for example, a lot of celebrities, right? There's a lot of celebrities that get into really icky situations, and because of those icky situations, the what's it called? The paparazzis are immediately posting about it right away and trying to create the story. But it's ideal that if a situation does happen, like let's say a big public event, you want to be the first to communicate about it because you want to define the stories before somebody else does. And so now let's go into how to network with others. Okay. So you figured out your personal branding, right? You figured out what exactly is it that you want to bring to the table and how you want people to know you by. You know about the importance of networking and how it can create different opportunities for you. And now is the part where how do you actually have that conversation with somebody else? So to get into it, I'm going to introduce the concept of informational interviews. So informational interviews is where you're not interviewing for a job, which is typical. You're interviewing the other person to learn more about their interests, their field, their experience, or whatever it is. So you're flipping the script, meaning that instead of them interviewing you, you're interviewing them to learn more about them. And there's nothing very complicated about that. It's just being able to have a conversation, really. And can be easily done within 15 to 30 minutes. And so just to teach you about like how to actually do informational interviews, I'm going to share through like the way of doing it through LinkedIn. Because in LinkedIn, it's a social networking platform for professionals where majority of people are able to acquire job opportunities or internships or whatever for themselves. If you're in high school, I actually do recommend that you should actually start creating your LinkedIn because this is something that you build over time. Your LinkedIn is going to probably follow you all the way till after graduation from college. And so it's important to start building it right now because this is the start of your network. And here in LinkedIn, at the very top, I'm showing like I'm searching up like teachers. For example, if I wanted to learn more about a particular field, like such as a teacher, I can just search it up and then I'll see results of people that might come up who are part of my network or maybe be adjacently related. So in LinkedIn, right, there are first level, second level, and third level connections. So if you notice right here with the search bar, there is like filters for first, second, and third. And what that means is that the first level connections are the people you're directly connected to. So for example, many folks here, if you're part of the egelloC community, you know me already. So I'm your first level connection. And the second level connection is who is it that I know that you don't know just yet. So I can potentially introduce you to somebody else, and that will be your second level connection. And the third level connection is another layer removed, meaning that I know somebody that knows somebody that can be connected to you. That's the third level connection there. Why is this important? Because your network is what's going to help you be able to find out those opportunities that are further removed in your second or third level connections. So for example, this is me messaging somebody, a peer of mine, who I went to college, and this was back in the day when I was like in the process of job searching. So I reached out to Josh here, and I was like, "Hey, it's been a while since we last chatted back then in Berkeley, and I'm reaching out because I experienced my company recently experienced layoffs, and I'm trying to be able to look around and be able to apply to jobs. And I saw that LinkedIn, which is where they're working at. I would love to be able to see like how can I break into LinkedIn to learn more, right? And so what's great is that the connections that you're building, whether that's in high school or in college, your peers, they're your first level connections. And you never know where they're going to end up in a few years from now. So this is why personal branding is so important because you want to create a strong impression with all these people that you meet from now all the way till like at least forever, I guess, because you want people to always think about a positive impression about you. And so that way, you never know if you're ever going to need to contact them again for any types of favors or any types of support. So Josh, this is the message I gave to Josh, and he responded to me. And from there, I went through the process of conducting that informational interview. So he agreed to have some time to chat with me. And the way to prepare for this information review, first start off just doing my own research about, hey, what's this particular job listing, or what kind of information is there that I can be able to learn about Josh's background and also learn about like LinkedIn's culture. What can I find out about the job opportunity at LinkedIn? I found the people to interview, which was Josh here. Prepare an introduction, which is essentially my reintroduction here, which actually who I haven't talked to him in like years when I messaged him, and so I had to kind of remind him like who I was, just because some people might not recall that. And so so in that introduction, I also provided like why is it that I'm reaching out to them? What is it that I'm hoping to learn? What I shared within this message is that I'm trying to learn how to break into LinkedIn. Fourth is preparing a list of open-ended questions. So just questions about how was his journey getting into there? What is it that he's been up to? What exactly is he working on? These are things that would help me be able to understand where are the opportunities or how to create those opportunities. Fifth is practicing a mock interview, which I didn't necessarily do because I've done this so many times. But if you're new to informational interviews, it's highly suggested to at least practice, whether that's with a peer or with a coach, because you want to make sure that you are valuing the other person's time and that you make this the most effective for yourself and enjoyable for the other person. And then you schedule the interviews, which is pretty much what I did. So after talking to Josh, right, I had a really great conversation with him. I learned exactly about how he got through the process, what did he learn from it, what's it like to work at LinkedIn, what was his career journey, and that actually helped me bring to his second connection, or my second connection, which is Varen. So Varen was the first connection to Josh, and Josh introduced me to Varen. So if you notice here on the messaging on the right, I messaged him to be like, hey, Josh referred me to you and said that you're a great guy to talk to learn more about this particular field, because he was actually in that same department, right? So for example, product owner of strategy and operations, and I wanted to learn more about the strategy and operations department. So that gave me a bit more leverage to understand like, oh, okay, how can I get my foot in the door? And so based off that, right, that actually led to this referral where I was able to have a really great conversation with him, and he was able to refer me to get interviewed at LinkedIn. And so that was only made possible, the referral was only made possible because I reached out to Josh from this initial part. So just by being able to think about what exactly did I want to get out of this conversation and preparing for that interview, reaching out to Josh, being able to talk to him, and then having him connect me to somebody else, that connection led me to being able to be considered as a candidate. So this is the example even for internships as well. If you see that there's an internship that's available at a particular company that you see that's posted, you can do the exact same thing. You can figure out like who's currently working at that company and then see who is it that's connected in your first connection of networks that can introduce you to that second connection. That will get you closer to the opportunity, and you're creating that opportunity for yourself just through normal conversations. So sometimes people think that they need to be the most trained or most skilled or most certified person in order to be considered or eligible for a particular role. But in reality, most jobs are received, and most internships are received just through conversations, just through networking. And that's the power of networking, is that you don't have to go through so many hoops and try to apply against 1,000 other people or tens of thousands of other people, when you can just talk directly to, hey, I heard you're the person that's probably going to be reviewing candidates. Can you review mine? And even for myself, like I've hired a lot of people through my first and second connections. I didn't need to necessarily go through a whole resume process and review them and have them interview. I already knew them, and I knew that they were really qualified. And so I just was able to hire them on right away. So the same goes here, right? By expanding your network, you're able to create more opportunities for yourself that you never know might exist in the future. Okay, so that was a bit of a quick webinar, at least, but wanted to at least show folks, right, the ability about how to network, the importance of it, and being able to practice that through messaging in LinkedIn. And so if you want to be able to acquire the notes and the replay for this, just text 949-775-0865, notes and replay, and that will send it over to you within 24 to 48 hours. Also, if you are new to our community and this is your first time joining us, right, and you want to get a free 15-minute coaching session, you can learn more about the college admissions process and get a free action plan on how to maximize your chances. This is only limited to one per family, so definitely take advantage of it. This is a service that we do for everybody. So nothing's going to be sold on this call. Our goal is just to make sure that you get the best advice, support possible to be able to achieve your college admission goals. And also, if you are part of our coaching families, remember that we do have our own research program where you could be able to acquire like a summer experience or I think 12-week experience to be able to work with a professor to develop a research paper that can go onto your college admissions profile. So that way it can help you stand out in the admissions process. You can build long-term relationships and mentors with these PhD researchers. And also you could get the credit from UC San Diego Extension and add it to your college transcript. So if you're interested in that, text research to 949-775-0865. And lastly is our internship program. So if you are still trying to find a summer internship, and summer is already about to start, right? We can be able to support you in getting a internship placement with a virtual startup where you'll be able to get 5 to 10 hours of work experience per week and to be able to develop a real world project. And out of it, you'll get a letter of completion and potentially a letter of recommendation that you can use for your college admissions process. And this can go on your activities section. Okay, aside from that, that was pretty much the end of our webinar. Is there any questions from anyone here in our participants? All right. I know we have a small crowd today, so it's possible that there might not be as many questions. So going once, going twice. Okay, no questions, no worries. How to apply to the internship. If you're part of our coaching family, remember to just text internship to 949-775-0865, or you could talk to us on Discord, and you can message us asking like, hey, can I sign up for the internship program or get a free consultation about that? So we can be able to set you up with one of our advisors who can talk more about the internship program. All right. Okay, all right. Well, thank you everyone for coming through for today, and I'll see you all next time on our next webinar. Take care, everyone.